Transition Radio TV brought to you by thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you could possibly need for your cross-dressing and transgender needs. Visit their website at www.thebreastformstore.com and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
The following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. A 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Milton Manors, Florida. Your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Ransom.
Like a Brillo pad.
Well, good evening,
my
everyone.
skin off.
Welcome to Transition Radio TV. Tonight we don't have a guest. We had Luxury D scheduled, but she had a last-minute emergency with her 90-year-old mother who got sick. But the show must go on. So you're stuck with Truly and my Ditsy blonde Jessica.
Ditsy blonde.
Ditsy blonde. Beautiful, gorgeous Ditsy blonde.
Yeah. Well, we want to apologize for the poor quality of our show lately. We are relying on campground internet service since our Metro PCS 4G service doesn't really work too well in the forest.
Yeah. Do we have a single yet?
Yeah. Okay, where are we going to go do this one?
But if any of you kind-hearted people would like to donate satellite service so we can get crystal clear reception, we would thank you from the bottom of our tranny hearts.
So apparently we're doing in the news because this is news.
News, yes.
Because there has been so much controversy and friction between many transgender individuals and the other members of the LGB. We feel that it is imperative to let go of the ego and start working together instead of policing words or crashing conferences. It appears that TERFs, trans, exclusionary, radical feminists, are going to crash the Philadelphia Trans Health Conference.
So this is going to be like the scene from the West Side Story where the Jets and the Shark have it out. I mean, that got to be interesting when you're a Jet. But seriously,
don't do that.
Why is it that there needs to be this TERF wars? According to a source, they are planning on actually infiltrating a trans space and actually posing a threat to trans people, trans women specifically. GID watches Kathy Brennan, so as an added layer to this just shows that she knew exactly what she was doing when she showed up at the trans exclusive type march with the signs praising Sheila Jeffries, or when she goes to queer nightclubs on trans night.
She is a provocateur. She does objectionable things so that when people object to them, she can paint herself as a victim. She does offensive things so that when people defend themselves, she can paint them as attackers. For those who are unfamiliar with Kathy Brennan, she used to be known around these parts as Bug Brennan. And after that got banned, a few variations on it, her specialty was finding trans users and harassing them and posting their photos. And also, if they were not out to their families yet, she was threatening to contact them.
A small but vocal band of activists known as the Rat Femmes see transgender women as a blight on the feminist movement, but because their views are not representing of the feminist movement as a whole, many trans-inclusive feminists refer to them as TERFs, or trans-exclusionary radical feminists. The chief TERF figurehead is a Maryland attorney named Catherine Brennan, who once served as a liaison on the American Bar Association Commission on Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity in July of 2012. A petition circulated to have Brennan removed from that position because, to put it mildly, she flatly rejected the gender identity half of her job description.
Apart from a sordid internet history of harassing and misgendering and mocking trans people, Brennan co-authored a letter with Elizabeth Hungerford to the United Nations Entity for Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women to argue against legal protections based on gender identity or expression. In so doing, Brennan has effectively allied herself with those on the right who viciously deter trans folks and attempts to secure employment, housing, and safe public spaces. So there is a video we wanted to share regarding the thoughts of both parties.
But before we bring that video, I want to say something. I put this in here. We're not against TERF. We're not against the Midge Fest. We believe that everyone is entitled to share the space that they want to share. We believe that there is a lot of controversy going on, a lot of hatred by many different parties. And if we think really deep, we're all struggling for the same thing: acceptance and love. So with that note, here's the video of how the two sides, I guess, interact.
Hello, Kate. Do you have a moment? I have been meaning to talk to you about something. Sure, Sheila. What's up? We had a talk at the Radical Feminist Women's Alliance. We have decided to expel you from the group. What? Are you kidding me? What did I do? A lot of the women were uncomfortable having a trans woman in the group. They felt creeped out by it and charged me with expelling you from the group. But I have been working hard right alongside you all for several months now. What is going on? As you know, many of us are in Genesis Women's Studies class. We have been reading radical feminist interpretations of transgender, and we believe that transgender women are an insult to women-born women. Are you saying that I am not a woman just like you are? Actually, no. You are not. You were not born female, and have not gone through all of the oppression that we have. You have used your male privilege to appropriate women's lives for your own benefit. I have felt like a female for my entire life. It is not my fault that I was born into a body that does not match my gender identity. This is a condition we are born with, not a simple political choice we make. Gender identity, like the categories man and woman, are fictions created by patriarchy. We must work to destroy all gender. Your transgender identity functions to preserve oppressive gender roles. Excuse me? Like lots of cisgender people don't also preserve oppressive gender roles and a binary gender system. Why on earth are you choosing to pick on and single out the transgender community for attack? Why not critique misogynist frat guys? Or sexist Catholic priests? Or anorexic runway models? We trans folks are an incredibly vulnerable and oppressed population. Yes, trans people do face oppression, but that is the fault of the patriarchy, not of radical feminists. Do you not think so-called radical feminists are adding to the misery we trans people face by attacking our identities in this manner? From my perspective, it just feels like you are heaping more shit on us, just like the bigoted world at large does. Sheila, I had no idea you are such a rabid transphobe. I am not afraid of so-called transgender people, nor do I hate them. I radically disagree with what they are doing. It is not helpful to call us bigots. We see the transgender political project as an utter failure, and as a menace to radical feminism. The goal is to get rid of gender altogether, not simply switch from one oppressive category to another. I cannot separate my personal identity as a transgender woman from your notion of my life as a failed political project. What part of ouch do you not understand? I have been fighting in the gender trenches for many years, and I resent you casting aspersions on my identity and on my work for revolutionary social change. I resent you appropriating my identity as a woman, when you will never understand what it truly means to be female. I resent you mutilating your body, to try to shoehorn yourself into compliance with patriarchal femininity. I also resent your intrusion into women's space, dividing real women and real lesbians from one another in your misguided quest to take over feminism, just like men have always done to women. Wow, so it's like that, huh, sister? I am an evil man who is plotting to infiltrate feminism to further my nefarious patriarchal plot. Don't put words in my mouth. Kate, I know you to be a pretty decent person. But you are making bad political choices with your life. These choices affect badly on all women. You are suffering from false consciousness. False consciousness? Didn't that stupid term get left back in 1979 along with that hate screed by Jan Raymond, the transsexual empire? Are you serious? I don't want to argue with you, Kate. You have been brainwashed by all that Pomo Butlerian queer theory nonsense. The decision of the group is final. If you decide to renounce your transsexualism, you are more than welcome to join our pro-feminist male auxiliary, Men Against Patriarchy. Sheila, take your male auxiliary and shove it where the sun don't shine. I am a woman and I am a radical feminist. Being born male does not prevent or negate either. If you and your group wants to be stuck in 1970s transphobic ideology, so be it. But I am not going away, and neither are my trans brothers and sisters. I will not evacuate feminism to let you and your group of haters take it over to promote your anti-trans ideology. Like Bell Hooks always says, feminism is for everybody. The sooner you embrace that reality, the sooner we can end the infighting and join together to usher in a real gender revolution. Goodbye, Sheila.
Interesting video, and you know, you have to see the resemblance of a lot of things. Right now, RuPaul's being attacked by the transgender community. Not everyone in the community are attacking him. A lot of us support him and love RuPaul dearly and love our LGBT family. But if we look at this video, we see a lot of correlation with what's going on. It's minorities being oppressing other minorities, arguing with one another, creating all these topics. And you know what's behind all this? It's politics. They are creating little puppets and putting them into place like pawns in a chessboard and creating the scenario that we're seeing before you so they could divide and then conquer. If we don't stop fighting one another, we're not going to reach anything. We're going to continue the spiral of fighting, and we need this and we want that and we deserve this and how dare you say that. Part of that video talking about the male privilege that a lot of transgender women have had all their life. They're used to invading men's spaces. They're used to getting their way. And now all of a sudden they've become female and they still want to hold on to that male privilege. And they're using this male privilege to silence everybody else that do not agree with them.
Exactly.
They're getting to Facebook.
Trying to, anyway.
No, trying to. They're getting to Facebook and trying to get rid of pictures that people have up saying the word tranny on their mouth and we support RuPaul. We have the right, Facebook and any other source out there, to identify as we so wish. As you have the right
to support anybody we
exactly.
wish.
You want to not identify as trans as a tranny, then don't. But you can't sit there and kill a movement that has been going on before you were even born or even on diapers. That's just not right.
Well, here's everything in a nutshell. The LGB, okay, before T ever came into play, drag culture was huge, and drag culture had, I'm sure many trans girls out there right now that are attacking RuPaul actually had his CD when they were prior to transition and listened to him and loved RuPaul. Now all of a sudden it's like, okay, now that you're transgender and you decided to take that plunge to transition, you're better than RuPaul or any drag queen out there.
But they're all talking heads. They're being put there. Carmen Carrera.
I wasn't done.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, as I was saying, that the fact is that they just tend to blow things out of proportion, and I think that the drag culture does have a very, very legitimate use for these words.
Exactly.
And if you don't identify with them, hey, what is the problem with that? Now, what's happening is the LGB has offered all of us a safe space and accepted us. Yes, a lot of them are still uneducated on what we really go through, and that's why they ask questions. But the bottom line is that they have given us a safe haven to come into their area and be who we are. for the most part.
And many of us,
And-
I was a lesbian and I lived in that community.
Exactly.
So how dare I bite the hand that covered me, that helped me get through the years of things that I was going through. I love my gay brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
You know, how dare we do what we do and try to justify our movement because we're angry and we're oppressed. I mean, they wanted to sit there and get RuPaul removed from his own show, a man who's had a show for centuries here, and they're trying just to remove him because they don't agree with what he's saying and what he's doing. Everyone has the right to express the way they want. This war-hungry campaign, the transgender female, because the majority of this campaign is being held by transgender female and some cisgender female that are backing them up. They're trying to just eliminate the other voice, and that's not right. We have a voice too, and you do not speak for all of us.
I wonder how the trans community would feel if the LGB just decided to say, well, we got this whole LGBT neighborhood and we're gonna have Pride Fest, but we're not gonna invite any transgender women to be a part of the Pride Fest.
Exactly.
Okay, now where do you go from there? Especially those transgender women that are basically transitioning or starting transition and still don't pass. Okay, I hate that word. Still don't pass. You know, and they're not ready to go into straight places, in heterosexual places, in bars and clubs and nightclubs. They're gonna get hurt. What do you think this is all going to boil down to? You know, the LGB is our ally, and they have been for a long time. RuPaul has been in support of transgender people for a long time.
And I'm seeing
that's my.
And I'm seeing they're attacking everybody, every single person they're attacking. I mean, it's crazy. We will not gain acceptance and allies by attacking everyone because they don't say the proper word or because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing because they're playing the role wrong in a movie or whatever else. So, you know, as the community continues to gain acceptance, it appears, this is another thing that's online now, that Time Magazine failed to recognize Laverne Cox as one of the 100 most influential people. And why should they? Laverne Cox is relatively new.
Yes.
You know, and again, puppets put in place by associations like GLAAD and other backbone that are trying to promote their own political agenda. They're using these puppets to state forth their needs. The actors and activists got the 5th highest number of votes in the online vote, much more than many people included on the annual list. And they're always trying to call foul here because that's the way they do it. Although Time said that its editors would have the final say on who makes the list, it also said that the magazine wants readers to have a say too.
Fans rallied behind Cox and got 88,000 votes.
Okay. I just lost. I just went.
88,000.
Okay, 88,000 votes. There we go.
Okay, are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
88,000 votes with less than 10% of the voters saying that she shouldn't make the list. When contacted by BuzzFeed asking why Cox was not chosen, Time said it declines to comment on the matter. Oh, gee.
And then they
because they see the angry movement from these women that are in the spotlight, sitting there bashing everybody that they tried to put a hand out to gain that acceptance. Piers Morgan, Katie Couric, you know, RuPaul,
Ellen, and everybody.
Ellen DeGeneres.
I mean, they're gonna attack the guy who made the movie Dallas Club. They're gonna attack
Dallas
everybody.
Buyers Club.
Yeah, and you can't do that. That's not how you win acceptance. When I used to advocate in the beginning, it was winning hearts and minds by getting people to like you, not dislike you.
Documentaries are the best way to achieve a goal because the documentary is what tugs on the heartstrings of America. And people see that, wow, they really do go through a rough time. And, you know, maybe we should start trying to understand them rather than try to, you know, push them away like they're something out of a sci-fi project. You know, and then here they're seeing a total turnaround and they're seeing bullying type behavior, violent lashing out, and aggressive behavior towards people that are trying to extend a hand and understand because they don't want to talk about their past. They don't want to talk about their bodies. They don't want to talk about this, that, and the other. Well, you know, that's all part of being an advocate.
Imagine if I would have thought that way, and then many of the elder trans advocates, and we would have all gone stealth these young baby trannies would have never been able to come out because the platform would have not been there. We've made it easier for you, and all of a sudden you're going, no, thank you very much. We're going to take it from here, and we're going to just destroy the transgender culture because we are real women or we're real men. You know, you could identify as you want, but you can't bite the hand that feeds you. You can't disregard a culture, a movement that has been going on way before you were born.
And good thing you said that, because you can identify however you want. You can
Yes.
identify as a big purple dinosaur, but it doesn't mean that everybody's going to see you as a big purple dinosaur.
Exactly.
So you better have some thick skin.
And to badger people for not seeing you how you want to be seen or for saying
Exactly.
words that you don't want them to say, that's affecting freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
Censorship at its
Finest. We could agree to disagree, but trying to hurt other people because they want blood.
Yeah,
These
well,
radical, angry, faces, trans individuals that are creating fascist individuals that are creating this movement are really wanting to seek blood. I mean, yesterday on Trans Role Model, I sat there trying to tell Fallen Fox, why are they so angry? Why do they want to get RuPaul fired? I mean, he didn't murder anyone. All he said was tranny. Okay, or used the
actually,
word
it was
or
she-male. And it wasn't even spelled right.
Exactly.
It was she-male, like email.
You should have seen. It was like I was the enemy, and they were just all of a sudden, just all of them just started attacking me. I couldn't type fast enough. In the end, they wanted to silence me. They all said, I say we remove him because he's not a trans role model. I'm more of a trans role model than any of you could possibly be because before it was fashionable to be trans, I was.
You know what? Go ahead, sorry, finish.
I was there in the trenches in 2004 and created lots of documentaries. I was in a lot of publications to help educate and open minds. So how dare you tell me I'm not a trans role model? Trans role model, the group needs to be stopped because there's just a bunch of angry individuals attacking RuPaul and attacking everybody that does not think like they do.
Exactly, and they censor you. If they don't agree with what you say, boom,
Yeah,
they kick you out. Speaking of, Lexi Kane.
Oh, yes. Lexi Kane.
You know, I did absolutely nothing. I had been in that group since its conception, and pretty much as well as you have. And I remember it was before they had not a whole lot of people there. And, you know, it's like all of a sudden, you know, Lexi Kane out of nowhere, which is also AKA Courtney O'Donnell, just booted me because of the fact that people were attacking you, and I went in there and said that I leave these groups basically because of the fact that, you know, of the bashing that goes on against your own kind.
Yes.
And here I come back to find my husband being bashed. So I'm gonna take my stance and to defend. And I said my piece, and you know, it was like bloop, nothing. And I hear a lot more complaints about that.
Yeah.
So trans role model is definitely looking to get one up on the popular vote.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, all of them. Paulina, Lexi Kane. There's another Christina or Christine or something like that. It's just, you know, you need to learn that you have to listen to both voices because a coin doesn't just have one side. It has two sides, and there's two sides to this formula, to this whole thing that's taking place. Some people don't like the word. Some people don't mind the word. Some people don't care.
Exactly.
So all the voices need to be heard.
Yeah.
I believe that the community is creating problems for themselves with the latest word policing and all the controversy being created. We take the victim approach and feel the world owes us something. Yet we see a major problem with the attitudes of many trans women, which leads to hate crimes and loathing from the outside world. We wanted to share this video. People talk about there's a lot of violence in the trans community, and especially trans community of women of color. Could it possibly be the attitude, the way they handle the situation, walking away is a better way than to actually end up a statistic? And here's the video.
If there was ever a reason not to be rude to a lady, it's because that lady could be a dude with a vicious attitude. A guy mouths off to a Sao Paulo sweetheart and discovers he's crossed the wrong cross-dresser. The assault moves off the street. But the punk would sooner face heavy traffic than this tranny any day. The vixen proves to be one tough fighter and an even nastier biter. Desperately, the chump thrashes free from the death grip. Just in time for police to arrive. Though officers suspect he's the troublemaker, it soon becomes clear who's got the chip on their manly shoulder. At the station, cops see even more of the she-male's charm. Not to mention prior shenanigans, or is that he-nanigans? Either way, it's a bad idea to get on the wrong side of this gender bender.
And it's, you know, we've seen tons and tons of these videos.
It doesn't fail.
It doesn't fail.
You know, it's the trans women that look like they're being the more antagonistic on everything. You know, just walk away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if somebody calls you a tranny faggot. Screw it. Walk away and leave it alone, because something ends up like that with all the camera phones that are out there.
Yeah.
You just may be the next one caught on camera being not very ladylike, let's just say.
And they're trying to have this victim mentality, you know, it's like, and then the community is trying to make him a hero. With CeCe McDonalds, who was convicted of second-degree murder, and she stabbed somebody in the heart with her scissor, and all of a sudden the community got riled up to support this, and yet we're calling a role model someone who murdered someone, who went right for the heart because the person said some slur.
Convicted. Somebody that was convicted, found guilty of
second degree. That's what
of the action.
Yeah,
and there was a victim. So
yeah. So, and you know, walking away could save your life. Walking away could prevent a situation, or changing that person's mind, which we have done many a times. You educate. You open up hearts and mind. You don't badger people. You don't force people to see what you want them to see, or you don't force them to tell the world, or tell the world what kind of word you can use or not.
Exactly, especially not somebody that's been in the LGBT for 32 years, working as an entertainer, and which is RuPaul,
Exactly.
and tell them what they can and can't say, because I'll tell you right now, RuPaul has more clout in using the word tranny than she-male than most of us transgender people out there, period.
That is true. I mean, before, like I said, before many of them were born. You know?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we can't be ungrateful. And I really don't understand how Carmen Carrera, getting her start from that show, would have the audacity to even confront. But there's this mob. People are just defending Carmen, and they're like crucifying. I mean, it was like a townspeople yesterday on that trans role model. I felt like, burn the witch, burn the witch. I was like, oh my God, they're going to burn me, you know, and then they silenced me.
Maybe you should have that word on your nose.
I should, maybe, or something. I mean, that's
maybe
wrong.
they'll stop thinking you're a witch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break to announce our other sponsor, Dr. Madirosian.
Please stay tuned.
Yes. Vardan Madirosian is a facial feminization surgeon in Jupiter, Florida. He did a fellowship in facial plastic and reconstructive surgery with one of the fathers of facial feminization surgery. He has also completed an extensive training in FFS for the past 6 years, working in close contact with his mentor. Dr. Madirosian performs surgeries in his office in a fully licensed operating room, or in the local hospital with highly trained and reliable staff. Give him a call today at 561-624-0900. That's 561-624-0900. Dr. Madirosian is highly qualified and understands our needs. We're back.
Is there an echo in here?
Isn't our producer a cute-looking guy? I swear, he's adorable. We gotta love
Show
him.
yourself.
There he is.
There he is.
There he
I just want to grab those cheeks
And
and
just go, oh.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
If you had a big long gray beard, you would look like a skinny Santa Claus.
No,
well, you know what's kind of funny, actually? Today I posted on Facebook, actually. It's like, I'm not skinny and I'm not fat either, so. Like, the
you're just
struggles
right.
us
It's like
folks go
Goldilocks,
through.
you know, you're just right.
Yes.
Yes, it's
Perfecto.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you guys are
you know,
great,
we
too.
love you. We love you dearly.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've been at this now for quite a while.
75 episodes, yeah.
I know, 75 episodes.
Hey.
Great guests, great stories. Things happen, I guess, has to cancel every now and then, but that's okay. We always have something to bring on the show and educate, entertain, and show the support for the other side of the community, because all you hear is that voice, the negative voice.
Yeah.
We all need to unite and let the world know that there's another side to this. Not all of us are haters. Not all of us have issues with our identity. Not all of us are uptight and make people walk on eggshells.
Let's just put it this way. 4 people do not speak for an entire group of people. So because there may be a few bad apples in the bunch doesn't mean all are bad apples and see things from the same microscope.
Exactly. And that's what we want the LGBT community to know. Our allies and our genetic families, because I hate that word cis, you know, they want to remove words, but they want to create their own.
Exactly.
You know, it's like with that radical femme. They're trying to tell people how things are, and then when other people try to tell them, it's like, no, this is how it's done.
Exactly.
And that's not right. You know, that's definitely not a good thing.
And don't get us wrong, because we understand the hardship we face as transgender individuals. Believe me, we are transgender. But we need to show compassion in order to receive some. We wanted to talk about some real important issues being faced in the military for transgender service members. Honesty can end career. Despite the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell 3 years ago, there are still military personnel serving in silence. Landon Wilson was a dedicated sailor in the Navy, serving in Afghanistan until his leadership learned that he was born biologically female.
It felt like the pinnacle of his career, working the graveyard shift in a windowless plywood facility in Afghanistan, monitoring a special operation mission as it unfolded in real time on grainy video feeds. After spending hundreds of thousands of dollars training Landon Wilson to intercept communications, the U.S. military was capitalizing on its investment in the young sailor, already regarded as a rising star in a critical, highly technical field.
But shortly after 2 a.m. on December 7th, when a supervisor tapped him on the shoulder and tapped him on the shoulder and summoned him outside, one of the secrets that mattered most to Wilson began to unravel. This Navy record says female, but this paper says male. The grim-faced sergeant major noted, displaying 2 sets of personal records. So what are you? Question mark.
What are you? After an awkward pause, Wilson, who joined the Navy as a woman but who has long felt like a man, provided the answer that set in motion the end of his military career. I am male. More than 2 years after the repeal of the law that barred gay men and lesbians from serving in the military openly, transgender service members can still be dismissed from the force without question. The result of a decades-old policy that dates back to an era when gender nonconforming was widely seen as a mental illness.
The policy, however, is now coming under scrutiny as service members like Wilson became more visible. And here's a video.
Little video to demonstrate.
Mission. And we're watching all this unravel, and then my senior chief comes up behind me and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he's like, "Hey, the sergeant major wants to talk to you for a second. Come this way." And then he escorted me out of the watch floor into his office. I remember this deep sense of panic and trying to walk in there as confidently as possible, but knowing that everything was about to change.
Landon Wilson was a respected Navy sailor working in Afghanistan. But the whole time, Landon was serving with a secret.
He presented me an official Navy record and then a document from Afghanistan and asked me to explain the discrepancy. And he looked at me and he said, "So what are you?" I remember there being a really awkward pause, and I'm not gonna lie to the sergeant major. So when I finally answered him, I looked him dead in the face and told him I'm a male. I mean, I tried for a really long time to be the daughter that I was expected to be. And on the outside, it was very much presented to be completely happy and okay with everything, but there's always that festering misery inside because what the world is seeing you is, you know that it's nothing close to who you know yourself to be.
Landon is not alone. A recent Harvard study found that 20% of transgender people had served in the military. That's twice the rate of the general population. And according to the Department of Veteran Affairs, the number of veterans seeking advice on transgender issues has doubled in the last 10 years.
For me, the military gave me a route. It also gave me a sense of validation and purpose. And then I think subconsciously the military also had that very masculine appeal to me where I felt like I could present in a way where it wouldn't be detrimental because the military put so much emphasis on masculinity and physical strength and mental fortitude. So to me, it was almost going to be my safe place.
Being transgender is fundamentally different from being gay or lesbian or bisexual in the sense that transgender people require some kind of medical treatment in order to be able to live whole, full, and healthy lives. Transgender people who serve today are required to forego that medical treatment or to risk discipline and to risk the end of their careers for seeking that medical treatment outside of the context of the military medical system.
Some saw the 2010 repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell as a signal transgender soldiers were able to serve openly. But that's a misconception. The U.S. military still bans transgender people because they classify it as a psychological disorder.
I was very lucky with my command and how supportive they were, but they still pretty much gave me the option of you can transition or you can serve. And knowing my history in the service, there was no reason as to why that shouldn't be continue transition and continue serving.
In 2013, Landon volunteered for deployment and was sent alone to combat training. Though his military records listed him as female, he was assigned to male barracks. He never spoke up, finally feeling he was being recognized correctly.
Once I started hormones, probably within the first month and a half, on the civilian side of things, I was never gendered incorrectly. I was seen completely as male all of the time until I had to go into work, and then it was back to the female standards. I knew everything that was on the table, but at the same time, it was completely worth it. It felt like taking my first breath.
Serving as a transgender has precedent around the world. 13 countries allow transgender people to openly serve in their defense forces, meaning that American soldiers have been serving alongside transgender military personnel for years in Afghanistan and Iraq.
What our allies have found is that there are actually very few accommodations that need to be made per se. There are policies and procedures that need to be established in terms of how a service member navigates the transition process while in uniform. But once those policies are established, once they are trained, our allies have found that they're very effective.
But while those policies are still being debated, servicemen and women like Landon are in a holding pattern. Landon was eventually honorably discharged from the Navy, but over 15,000 transgender people are still serving in silence.
It had finally sunk in that everything that I had worked for at that point in the military, all my awards and commendations and praise that I had received from leadership was not enough because of something that was foundational to who I am as a person. We are sailors, we are soldiers, we are Marines, we are airmen, we are guardsmen. The fact that we are transgender is, usually 5th or 10th or 70th on our list of things that make us who we are.
Exactly.
Exactly. And, I think the military should really look at this and we as a community work towards helping this, except of things that really don't matter. But
well, this was a prime example of something that really matters.
But at the same time, I'm looking at being truthful. Just being truthful, and I know it's hard to be truthful in the government, in the military, because they kick you out. But
why? Let me back up for a second.
Okay.
Being truthful. Okay. Yes. And the problem is why I don't see the conceived notion why anybody that was living a lie their entire life, okay, quote unquote, that you're living your entire life as a lie. Why would you transition to continue living another lie?
Exactly. And that's my point. We need to be non-deceivers.
It's called pride.
I think we will get more respect if we are honest with the world. We see ourselves as a male, you see yourself as a female. But I'm a trans man, you're a trans woman. I'm not ashamed of who I am. By trying to hide who we are, we're saying we are ashamed of who we are.
Exactly.
And I think power holds with pride. Being proud of who you are.
Exactly.
And I think we will definitely get a lot more respect. But yes, the military definitely, if anyone wants to fight for this country, then they should be able to fight no matter of their sexual preference, no matter of their gender identity, no matter of whatever, as long as they're mentally healthy. And
you just said it.
Yeah, as long as they're mentally healthy, because that's the key with a lot of transgender individual. It's not just gender dysphoria. There are other diagnoses that go along with that.
Right, but now with the mental situation, they claim that transgender individuals can't serve in the military because it's a psychological, mental issue.
No, the gender dysphoria is not.
If you can go in and take a psych eval and you can pass that psych eval, then what's the problem? I think that's just an excuse.
Exactly. And gender dysphoria is not the mental condition. There are other mental conditions that go along with a lot of individuals who are transgender. And hence, I think a lot of the turmoil, the problems that we're seeing.
Exactly. So our community doesn't just fight against the LGBT, but they also fight amongst themselves. One of the most common disagreements is the terms transgender versus transsexual. Watch and see.
The word transgender has a real definition, though you wouldn't know it if you talked to some West Coast trans folk. For them, the word means exactly what it did about 40 years ago. Heterosexual crossdresser. And they really upset themselves if you refer to their experience as being trans.
Christine Jorgensen was not transgender, just as I am not transgender. She was, like I am, transsexual. Transgender is a social construct, a political identity that grew out of the heterosexual transvestite movement founded by people like matters not one whit to me that a bunch of people came along years later and invented a social construct, a political identity that they embrace. I expect my definition of self to be as much respected as theirs. That does not mean a retroactive, hegemonic colonialization of my life experience under the rubric of transgender to be lumped into the alphabet soup. The teaching movement would like to try and count me as part of their T, but I am not a T. There needs to be a dialogue that transsexual, though not equate to trans people, myself included, reject transgenderism as an ideological construct. We argue the need for empirical evidence and do not accept that teaching narrative, which we interpret as pseudoscience, throwing what no substance it has from John Bunny's theory.
Now let's come back to reality for a minute. The English language is not dead. It's consistently growing and evolving, especially the language we use to deal with nuanced concepts like gender. For the actual definition of the word, let's see what Merriam-Webster has to say.
Of, relating to, or being a person as a transsexual or transvestite who identifies with or expresses a gender identity that differs from one which corresponds with the person's sex at birth.
So, according to the English language, if you express a gender identity in our culture that's different than the gender identity you are expected to present based upon your genitalia around the time of your birth, you're transgender. That's what the word means. If you choose to bang your spoon on your high chair every time someone uses the word in a context consistent with the English language, I want to be clear. That's a choice you're making. Assigning a definition to a word that it just doesn't have, and then choosing to take offense when someone uses it in its proper context is, well, fail.
Fail is the internet's word of choice for expressing contempt.
The second theory I I want to cover is the idea that gender springs forth through your genitalia. Basically, the idea is that at a young age, your prepubescent genitalia begins excreting this stuff called gender. Gender then travels up through your body and lodges itself into your brain. I like to call this the genitalia equals gender theory. The idea behind this theory is that a child's genitalia is where their gender identity emanates from and becomes fixed, at which point the child's gender identity stays with them throughout the rest of their life. I personally believe that this has roots in Freud's ideas on gender, especially where women are concerned. According to Freud, a woman's gender is formed through their realization that they are deformed because they lack a penis. Therefore, a female child's sense of gender identity is created by their genitalia, and this identity carries forward throughout the rest of their life. Now that we've covered what the word transgender actually means, I want to talk about the benefits of being part of a large community. First, I need to note that one of the largest roadblocks to community is this elitist notion of transgender stratification. Post-op trans folk don't want to be associated with non-op trans folk. Intersex people don't want to be associated with post-op trans folk. Non-op trans folk don't want to be associated with cross-dressers. Cross-dressers don't want to be associated with drag kings and queens. Butch and femme folk don't want to be associated with kings and queens, and so on and so forth. My premise here is that this type of self-imposed stratification robs a community of its potential. My evidence to support this premise is the Houston trans community. In Houston, such stratifications are the exception and not the rule. In Houston, all types of transsexuals, cross-dressers, intersex people, drag people, butch and femme people, as well as any type of genderqueer person from the goths to the visual cave folks, are part of one large community who works together for common purpose. What other trans community owns and runs its own social service program? What other trans community has set up its own system of affordable healthcare clinics, as well as a federally funded trans-only housing program? What other community has a fully functioning transgender center that provides almost daily meetings and functions, takes care of homeless trans folk, and runs its own HIV testing and prevention program? What other trans community runs its own transgender archive that's open to the public? What other trans community can take lots of credit for getting their city's mayor into politics?
And this, this video is hilarious, but exactly, it's what's going on. And it's like every political point and political head is just throwing their little recipe in there. And the meanwhile, we're destroying our community, all for stupidity.
Yeah.
Not even looking at issues like this particular organization in Houston is
Exactly.
like, and that's what we need to do. Who cares who uses what word? Let's come from a place of love, and that's what we need to do. By silencing others and by creating this angry campaign, you are going to destroy your own self.
And
there is
others.
And others. Yes, there is a 4-alarm fire raging in the transgender community, and it's over just one simple word. One simple word is enough to destroy friendships, break up relationships, make a person feel bad, divide the transgender community, and cause to attack each other over our views about the one word. The word, of course, is tranny. And it's causing more pain and anguish.
Wait, it's actually 2 words.
Tranny.
And shemale.
But okay,
You
this
forgot that
is
one.
and it's causing a more pain and anguish in the world of transgender people than I have ever seen before over one particular topic. The transgender community is imploded, and the cisgender world is watching us, thinking we are crazy, irrational, and incapable of forming a coherent argument without blatantly attacking on each other. We have also attacked the cisgender world without accusation and admonishments over their use of this word.
And what I'd like to know is, this cis community, genetically born male and female are out there, and they see, CEOs are seeing the types of things that are going on. The CFOs, people of in a position of supervisory position, and et cetera, are seeing the attitudes and the actions of the transgender community. Do you really think that if you were the CEO of a company and you saw all this crap going on, that you're going to hire someone that's trans? I know if I have a business, I'm going to say, hell no.
Exactly.
Anyway, how much more evidence do we need that words have power and... Oh,
there we go.
Jesus. You're fired. You're fired. And we should be very careful how we use them. It has been argued that people should just mellow out and not let the word offend them. However, for us to have suffered under the yoke of oppression attached to the word tranny, it has become difficult for us to brush off the word without being hurt in some way, shape, or form. Being offended is a choice, and a lot of people are choosing to be offended by the word. However, there are those who cannot just choose not to be hurt, feel attacked, or verbally raped by the word. Some of us have been literally beaten, raped, and killed while the perps scream, "Die tranny."
And like that, really, you know.
Well, what if they said, "Die teddy bear"?
Yeah, die teddy bear, teddy bear, teddy bear. You know,
is teddy bear going to be a bad word now?
Or transgender. Next will be transgender. They're going to eliminate
Transgender,
transgender because that's the last word a person hears before they die.
Exactly.
We've got a lot of Sylvias in the trans community that get to talk to the dead. I myself have been a victim of this and therefore can fully understand. This is an article. It's not, I have not been a victim. Understand why the word can be considered offensive and people want it to be stricken from the dictionary. For better or for worse, words have power, according to this article, over people and will affect us in many unforeseen ways. No, it does not. Sticks and stones will break your bones, but words can never hurt you. On the other hand, I can also easily understand the argument that tranny is just a word and we should not let it have power over us. It is as simple as deciding that we will not be offended, or is it? People are triggered subconsciously with words and have reactions that are beyond their control.
I have flashbacks when I hear the word and it makes me cringe. So I fall into the camp that would like...
That's the article, not us.
I know.
Yeah.
I understand that, but you turned it too fast. Oh, but that's okay.
Like the word.
That would like the word banned. However, I refuse to block my friends and get so upset about the whole situation that I flame and attack people for their opinions. Everyone's opinion is valid and should be considered. That is how human groups figure things out. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. Author...
Schopenhauer.
Yeah, like I can pronounce that.
Schopenhauer. See, I'm Cuban. I could speak German.
Yeah, right. Okay, the only German word I know is for bra, and it's called keeps them from
Schopenhauer.
Schopenhauer.
Thank you, lovely producer.
Thank you, Joe.
Sheesh.
I knew somebody. Would
I'm
have
Cuban.
to rescue me.
I can only do the best I can do.
Oops, I had a wardrobe malfunction.
Okay.
Anyway, a German philosopher from the
Thanks,
1780s.
Jess. Now we can't produce a Super Bowl here at Gay Life Television. Thank you.
Oh, I know. Oh, wait, should I do what the Justin Timberland did? No.
Something like that.
No, just do the cover up real quick. That's okay. I got itty bitty titties, so there ain't gonna be nothing to worry about. I have faith that the transgender communality will figure out this issue and continue to grow and evolve. However, the level of hostility over this is way off the charts. No matter which camp you fall into, remember, these are just ideas and personal attacks are not called for. And I totally agree with that.
Exactly. I mean, we may not agree. I mean, not everybody could agree. You and I don't agree on everything, but you have to learn how to agree to disagree.
And you should be able to be an adult and have a goddamn conversation
Yeah.
with another group of adults. But unfortunately, the other group of adults are acting like a bunch of kids, and it's like, what are you going to do?
Mudslinging, calling names, censoring by removing you from
No,
groups.
I can't hear you.
Reporting pictures to Facebook so that Facebook can suspend your account for a few days while they go around and say, I'm a woman, not a tranny. But they didn't remove that from their thing. They removed things from other people's pages, and my page has been in suspension for 3 days, and I'm pissed off because that's not right. I want somebody. If you know how to contact Facebook, contact me because I want to make this issue a big issue. Facebook, you do not define me. And the other side of the coin does not define me either. Anyway, we'll be right back with clips from Transgender Highway
and the transition video of the week. Stay tuned.
The Delta Foundation of Pittsburgh is pleased to announce our 2014 Pride in the Street headliner is the Queen of Funk, Chaka Khan. Pride in the Street with Chaka Khan, Saturday, June 14th, Liberty Avenue between 9th and 10th Street. For tickets, visit www.deltafoundation.us/tickets.
All that beautiful footage was shot by my beautiful husband.
Even though the RV moves, I'm sitting there with a camera, and sometimes like, oh my god, I'm trying to keep it, and it's the only one all over the place, and it's like, but it's been an amazing adventure thus far.
Yeah, it has. It's been awesome, and we got to meet one of our good friends, Jacqueline Waters,
which we had last week, was it?
Which we had her on the show.
Yes. Was it last week or the week ago? Yes, I lose track of all the guests.
So yes.
But
So we actually met her in person. Beautiful soul.
Yes.
And she's not offended either.
Yes, she's not. She supports the tranny movement.
Yeah, right.
We are proud. We are loud. Get used to it.
That's what Pride's all about.
Exactly.
As a trans couple, we face many challenges, especially on the road. We, however, continue to do the many things we did before this amazing adventure.
And the administering of our hormones is a weekly ritual no matter where we're at. Here's a clip of how his and her hormones are administered.
Yes, exactly. And he told me it's only going to be a little prick.
Little prick.
Sorry, I should have left that out.
Well, good morning, guys. I think my head. Oh, I thought my head was being chopped off. Let's see from that far away.
It might be. You might want to sit.
Bring it up a little higher. It'll be fine. Bitsy
quiet. No, it's not. It's not. Your head's not chopped.
No?
No, that's good.
Your head is.
No, it's not when I said.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be doing this sitting.
Well, I'm gonna stand up, and they're not gonna need to see my head. They're gonna see my ass because you're gonna be poking me on it.
I wish our dog would shut up.
Every time we do a video.
She always has to be boisterous. Damn dog. You don't have the Zambra.
No, I didn't.
His and her cotton balls. Ain't that special? When you grab that one, that was.
She used to be our Sunday morning ritual. Now
That's our Monday morning.
Monday morning ritual.
Forgot one Sunday or something. So how do you forget to take your hormones? I mean, I've been doing this for 12 years now, and it's like. Tell you the truth, I think it's important to cycle off these things because after a while the receptors just get so overly saturated, and overly saturation of anything can lead to health issues.
Yes.
I hope our neighbors don't think we're a bunch of junkies here. Like I just passed by.
You have two different needles, one that comes on the syringe, and you have one that pulls the liquid out of the bottle.
You always want to rub the alcohol on top of the little bottle there to get away any type of bacteria. I've been doing this, like I said, for 12 years. Not once have I had an issue. I think one time when I self-injected in my butt, I might have nicked a vein or something because I felt I couldn't breathe. And it lasted maybe a good 2 to 3 minutes, and I freaked out. I normally now don't like to inject in my butt. I usually inject in my arms. But, let's see here, half a cc. You put the amount in that you're going to, by the way, this is not a video to show you how to inject. Everybody's got their way, and I don't want somebody suing us for showing you the wrong way. Like I said, I've been doing this for 12 years now. To me, it's not a big deal anymore. I just kind of do it, you know, and no worries. Just kind of do it. And I'm wondering if you should have put that camera a little bit closer. Because
no, it's okay. Because we need to get us both in.
Okay, so now I collected the specimen. I remove that first needle that was just there to actually collect the specimen, the testosterone. And then I put the other one in. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Then I just kind of let some of the excess. I never worry too much about bubbles, this, that, and the other. Clean out the area. Poke. Plunge out. Make sure you're not getting any blood. And then you just kind of squeeze it on in there. Some people do it a little slower. I just want to get it out of the way. Again, this is not an instructional video. This is just for you guys to see the ritual that Cummings do. We do this together. I, of course, have to inject her. She just likes to feel she's doing something, so she prepares her own little thing. But,
very funny.
Anyway, that was that. It didn't hurt a bit. Actually, the times that I feel it hurts the most if I've ever injected in my leg, I feel my arms are the least painful. I'm sure I've got so much scar tissue on my deltoid muscles, which is the medical term for your shoulder muscle, but you know what? Hey, sometimes I will do the butt.
Needle looks a little bent.
Now, before I hold on to that for a second, let me throw this out. Throwing this in the trash. Speaking of the trash, we gotta empty out this trash today. It is full. Wash my hands again because I just stuck my hands in the trash.
Yes, I'm not.
Do want to give my girl a fungus among us?
Yes, I am not able to inject myself as of yet.
Could have put those away last night.
Oh.
There.
Okay.
Okay, now you take the cotton ball. Let me add a little more alcohol to this thing here. Which side did I think it's the
Is it the right side this time? I think it's
this side, okay.
I think it's the right cheek.
The right cheek.
Go a little closer so you can.
Alright. So, the way this goes, we got it there.
In front of the camera.
That's her white, palish butt right
Shut
there.
up.
You need to bend forward a little bit for me, and I'm going to have this down this way. Rub that stuff in there real good. You ready?
Just make sure, double check it.
Well, I don't want to take more out if you already did.
No,
Yeah.
just double check and make sure there's no bubbles in it.
Bubbles aren't a problem. Let me do this again, because I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here, if I'm in the way.
Probably not. Ah! God dang it, I'll never get used to this. Ow.
Yeah, it's no biggie. She's just a baby. There we go. And out.
Owie!
Yeah, owie. There's a baby in this family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not even hit there. Right there. I have a big abscess on my booty.
No, you won't. Shake, shake, shake.
Shut up.
Anyway.
Butthole yo. Anyway, so that.
I don't find this to be a big deal. Again, I've been doing it for 12 years. I guess after 12 years, it just becomes second nature.
That's garbage.
Yes. But.
That's the
hormone.
Oh, God.
But that's our ritual. I never thought that I'd have a partner in life, a wife that we'd be doing the same thing. That's sometimes it's like really awkward and amazing at the same time, you know. To live the
Well,
life with
gee, that was nice. I feel like an exhibitionist now. Thank you very much.
Anyway, life is what we make of it. If you hide in a corner and constantly bitch about what you don't have, it will, of course, all turn out bad.
You can see the glass half full and be grateful for what you have instead of
constantly.
Thanks for correcting me. I could have fluffed that one off.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyway, instead of constantly being depressed,
this is your book, your story. Make the chapters about glory and whine less about your present or past. And now for the transition video of the week with the great Wally.
That was my line.
Oh.
What was that? Payback from last week?
Yeah.
Well, it's alright, riding around in the breeze. Well, it's alright, if you live the life you please. Well, it's alright, doing the best you can. Well, it's alright, as long as you lend a hand.
You can sit around and wait for the phone to ring, waiting for someone to tell you everything. Sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a diamond ring.
Well, it's alright, even if they say you're wrong. Well, it's alright, sometimes you gotta be strong. Well, it's alright, as long as you got somewhere to lay. Well, it's alright, every day is judgment day.
Maybe somewhere down the road away, you'll think of me and wonder where I am these days. Maybe somewhere down the road when somebody plays Purple Haze.
Well, it's alright, even when push comes to shove. Well, it's alright, if you got someone to love. Well, it's alright, everything will work out fine. Well, it's alright, we're going to the end of the line.
Don't have to be ashamed of the car I drive. I'm just glad to be here, happy to be alive. And it don't matter if you're by my side, I'm satisfied.
Well, it's alright, even if you're old and gray. Well, it's alright, you still got something to say. Well, it's alright, remember to live and let live. Well, it's alright, the best you can do is forgive. Well, it's alright, riding around on the breeze. Well, it's alright, if you live the life you please. Well, it's alright, even if the sun don't shine. Well, it's alright, we're going to the end of the line.
That was an amazing transformation.
That was.
Although, you know, the beautiful androgyny.
That was
about
the
us,
back and forth,
Yeah,
which
it's
was
an
awesome.
androgyny. It's an amazing thing, and I think the universe is actually speaking. But anyway, send us your transition video of the week to transitionradioshow@gmail.com. We definitely love to see it and showcase it on our great station here, Live TV. And we want to thank our sponsors for
Yes, and we want to thank
helping
Joe
us,
and everyone at Gay Live
David,
TV.
William, Gay Live TV, and all the wonderful staff they have there. We want to thank all of you, even though you don't agree with us all the time, even though you're trying to silence us. We still love you. We still want you to realize that you are an important part of this community, but so are we. And every side has the right to voice their opinion, to be and live their lives.
And muzzles were meant for dogs.
Exactly.
Not for humans.
So what you're doing is just, and eventually you will end up like, what does that say? Giving a dog enough
rope,
they're going to hang themselves. So eventually that's what's going to happen, and you're going to end up ruining the community. But anyway, guys, thank you so much.
We love you,
but remember to always love yourselves too. Always.
Now for the parody of the week.
Yes.
Maybe I'm going there, or maybe I'm just high, but no means yes in my mind. This song totally sucks. This song and video will make you wanna take a knife that is really dope and shove it in your trachea. So overhyped is absurd, makes me seem like a huge bird.
Because you are a huge bird.
And now it's time for stupid hashtags that say my last name.
It's extremely lame.
Here's what they should say. I'm a douchebag who thinks he's so smooth. Everyone's dancing except me, I'm way too cool. I'm going blind.